again, I don't know. Until I've got my TARDIS, I don't know. But as soon as I've
TARDIS
got
then.
it,
So
I'll let you know.
I saw you cosplaying as the Doctor a few times.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
So okay, so it's the Doctor Who then. Who's your favourite Doctor?
You can't ask that, Christian. That's it's like saying who's your favourite child. Um, okay, it's a combination because they're all good for very different reasons. But my absolute favourite, if I should really narrow it down, my absolute favourite has to be David Tennant. So number 10.
Now, is he number 10 now? Is not 556? It's like, or is
No,
it?
no, he's number 10.
Let's retcon that history now. New series says that didn't happen.
We know, we know. But they've always retconned the history. That's the thing. Even shows like Star Trek have always retconned their history and never been consistent. And it's the same with Doctor Who. It's not consistent.
Can rewrite your own
Writing
canon.
will always do something different, won't it? But no, he's my favourite. Although the Doctor that I was watching when I was a kid, that was Sylvester McCoy, so I quite enjoyed him. But the Doctor that actually got me into Doctor Who was Paul McGann's.
Same here. Same here.
So number 8. But at the same time, I love number 9 for his childlike nature with his childlike nature with seriousness and this tragedy of coming out of the Time War. 11, 11 for me was meh, I'm afraid to say. Matt Smith is a great actor, he really is, but I just couldn't gel with his Doctor. Sorry. He did a good job,
Yeah,
but
I think
it
some of the
wasn't a Doctor
stories
I could
struggled.
love.
Um,
Yeah,
and I guess it was one of them ones where the whole series was the arc of the story. And a lot of that felt very timey-wimey. It felt a bit loose cannon. Didn't feel like the story was going anywhere sometimes. But there were moments when he was absolutely on point with the way that he acted and performed, and there was such
yeah,
power.
yeah,
And you go, wow,
yeah.
just
Like when a good man goes to war. That was a brilliant example of his acting and how his Doctor works and how he's prepared to literally call all together an entire army if he has to. But even then, at the very last minute, being the Doctor,
didn't do it.
can't do it. But that's the Doctor, isn't it?
Yeah,
He can't do it. He's the man who can't do it, because he's the man who won't do it. Until he was the one who did at the end of the Time War, because he had to, because reality was tearing itself apart, and he could either carry on doing what he was normally doing and become part of that which got torn apart, or he could stop it right now. The cost being his own people. 12, I liked 12. I liked 12 a lot. I loved 12 in these very last series because I thought, yeah, here we are. We've got Capaldi and his acting and the actual stories that this Doctor
yeah. He
needs.
felt it took a while to get comfortable with his stories, and there was lots of moments where he's just like, this guy's not quite sure who he is. I think that was intentional, and then he
Yep.
becomes this quite what's the word? Confident in his ability, and he was particularly when he became the rock star version. You know, he had his guitar. I love that. He's like he's finally got his own
I
personality
did as
now.
well. I even love the Sonic. I even love the Sonic sunglasses. I thought they were great.
Me too. That was good.
I thought they were great. And I've always said it a little. I'll get on to 13, then I'll tell you what I said about the Doctor. And 13, I like 13. It's just the writing that pisses me off.
I think that's a big issue, isn't it? I think clearly all
But
the other actors were Doctor Who fans as
yeah,
well. Certainly Peter Davidson said he grew up watching William Hartnell, and since then David Tennant talks about it, Pat Smith talks about it, and Jenny Winniker's like, no, I never saw Doctor Who before. And
yeah,
I think when people realise that, was a bit of an ouch.
yeah. It's like with the. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I couldn't even tell you what it was. It's just that it's almost like they're just about to get to some really, really, really good point, and then they make a choice which leaves you feeling a bit deflated. There's some wonderful moments in 13's history so far, and 13's. I think she's brilliant. I really do. I think she's got the energy. I think she's got the enthusiasm. I think she's got the chops to be the Doctor. But there are just some things that when you listen to the dialogue, you think, no,
No.
that doesn't. Oh dear. And her Doctor works best when she's being her most compassionate, and when she's being her most generous as well. Like, for example, when Jodie Whittaker started doing all these little videos about her being the Doctor and telling us, right, yep, I'm on the run from this alien race. I've got trapped on Earth. Everything's on lockdown. She's telling her body, you've got this. You can hold on. You can get onto that.
Well, that's
and she does that brilliantly. She does that fantastically. And I'm glad somebody else put it in the comments. This guy put, I'm 42. I've just watched this, and now I've got tears in my eyes. And I'm so glad you put that, mate, because that was brilliant.
See, some things like that should be wrote into the story in a way. You know, there's been many periods of time where he's stuck on a planet, and it's been 20 or 100 or even 600 years now, a certain story form again, where he's stuck on a planet as somebody. And if there's no reason why, the lockdown can't be wrote into a story, and there's therefore those little clips make sense so that she's trying to survive while stuck here in lockdown in a house. She can't escape. There's a virus outside. It could be an alien virus, but that makes a contextual sense that people can feel the real world reality of, the Doctor Who is really happening here because I've experienced that myself. I'd like them to do that.
I reckon hopefully they will. Hopefully they will. So how I've kind of put all this together in terms of all the recent Doctors is 9 is recovering from the Time Warp, and he's psychologically dealing with all the tragedy and the anger and the pain of that, the losing of Gallifrey, the losing of his people, the sacrifice he had to make. He's living with that right now. 10 is the anger of that. He will do everything he can to save everyone. He'll do everything he can to stop evil in whatever form it comes, and because he needs someone to hold him back, he's in danger of becoming the thing he actually fears, which is what his own species became. Which they're exploring with a series called the Time Lord Victorious, and I'll be very interested to listen to that. 11. 11, he's come out of that and he's learned from those mistakes, but he's trying to keep his friends together. 12 has now entered a midlife crisis, hence the whole guitar playing and going on. And 13 is in almost reluctance, in that way of everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's good, yep, we're all good, we're all chipper. And then when no one's looking, she's all thinking very dark thoughts.
Because there are moments of dark thoughts in there. I don't know whether they're intentionally wrote into the story or not. She almost seems to not really care about her companions. There's a particular episode where they fight out of an alien sensor or something. I think Yaz turns around to the Doctor and says, "Well, I'm going to go back in there. There's something I forgot." And the Doctor's like, "Yeah, okay." And it's like, you've just 20 minutes to fly out of this building together.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean by the writing. It's like the Doctor wouldn't do that. Or at least there's not been enough in that particular story thread where the Doctor's trusting Yaz 100% completely to go off on her own to go and get something.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the intention, that's not what came across. What came across is what you just said. It's like, what, you're just going to go and let her do something and now something terrible is going to happen?
Have you watched the new series of Lost in Space?
No.
Because that suffers with that a lot. It's really beautiful, well done. It's really well directed. It looks very visually outstanding. It's on Netflix. But every situation the crew finds themselves in a moment of peril is caused by them making a silly decision that nobody with a logical mind would make. and it's
Yeah.
it's that now for 2 seasons. It's like, come on.
Now, interestingly enough, I used to watch the original Lost in Space.